What up? This is Robert Ory.
Ory, three-pointer. Buries it!
You might know me as Big Shot Bob.
To Ory for three. Oh, unbelievable. This guy is off the charts.
What's going on, Big Shot Bob?
Robert Ory from downtown. This crowd on its feet. The best team in basketball all year. All the work, all the sacrifice, handling the enormous weight of massive expectations. Ends tonight here. It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured. The Celtics are NBA champions.
I think we all saw it coming after the 2-0 start and the 3-0 start, and Mavericks got it rolling in Game 4, man, but too little, too late. So there you have it. Boston Celtics are your NBA champions. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, NBA champions, and we all know that Game 4 was just a safe face. You know, every team's going to come out with a lot of oomph and a lot of extra adrenaline, but can you keep that adrenaline going to carry over in other series? And we could clearly see that one team was better than the other. Man, that's what it boils down to. One team was clearly better than the other.
Well, they were the best team all season. They really were. I mean, and you know, we're gonna talk about Joel Embiid making excuses and a number of other things on the show, but they were far and away, I think, the best team in the NBA this year. Now, how that translates in the postseason, do you get the job done in the playoffs and the finals and all that stuff? Yeah, obviously that's all, you know, you have to see how that plays out, but they got it done. So congratulations to the Boston Celtics for winning the title, taking number 18 home.
Yeah, defense and shooting was the name of this series.
You're kidding, man.
Boston shot a lot better than Dallas did. And defensively, they were a lot better. You know, we look at a guy like, we look at Luka and we look at Kyrie, and I'm pretty sure we'll get into this in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Luka's got a lot to work on. He's still very young, not quite in his prime yet, which is still scary with how dynamic of a player he is already. But one thing we've always said about Luka is Luka's got to work on his defense. Luka has to work on becoming a better defender. Luka has to move his feet better. And Luka's got to stop complaining. He's got to stop looking at the refs every single time he drives to the basket. It's like when somebody breathes on him, he wants them to blow the whistle. And he puts his team in bad situation after bad situation after bad situation. They just went through it like, hey, he had to apologize to his teammates. You can't continue to cry about fouls like you do. I understand that you're a budding superstar. But the way that he yearns and desires fouls every time he touches the ball is ridiculous. And it's annoying and it's terrible to watch. So he got some stuff to work on. As young as he is, he can fix it. But he's got some stuff to work on. I hope he learns from this series.
Yeah, I totally agree with that on you. But, you know, let's give it up to the Celtics. So they had a great season, man. And you think about this, for a long time, I think until like January, February, you know, we was talking about Tatum as the MVP. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're ahead of everybody by 20 games. So you start cruising. And that's just human nature sometimes. You know, their young team, they're like, I think they clinched home court advantage like 15 games left to go.
Yeah, it was sometime in March. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, that is incredible. And I think, and then we put all these excuses out there that to deny their greatness this season. Like, oh, they didn't go up against Jimmy Butler. It wouldn't have mattered. I love Jimmy, but it wouldn't have mattered. Oh, they didn't have Spider. They did have Spider, but it didn't matter. They had missed him for 2 games. Oh, they missed
Giannis was hurt, and Embiid
it
was hurt.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know, because nobody talks about the record they had against all these teams throughout the year. You think about, I remember who was it that was playing the Denver Nuggets at home. They hadn't lost at home, I think it was, and the Denver Nuggets beat them, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, they can't win. They this, they that. You know, but it boils down to matchups. We can't blame them because the Denver Nuggets, who everybody thought was going to win it again, didn't do what they were supposed to do and got beat by Minnesota. And Minnesota, who thought they were automatically going to the finals, played Dallas Mavericks, who shouldn't have been there, beat them, you know. And that's how it works in the NBA. You know, I go back to my first title in '94 when Seattle Supersonics lost, and that was a team that owned us. I was like, yes, it's our title to win now. And we even though we went down 0-2 to the Suns, we won it. But each team in this league has a team that sits there and they're better than them because they match up better. And nobody really could match up better with this team but the Denver Nuggets. But the Denver Nuggets didn't match up well with Minnesota, so they didn't make it there. So give the Celtics their flowers.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
And that's hard for me to say, being a Laker.
I was going to say, man, they surpassed the Lakers for most titles in NBA history. Here you are throwing roses at them. I mean, that's weird.
No, but I love basketball, so you have to give guys their credit. I get on to my son.
Yeah,
we sit there and you're like, man, he's garbage. I'm like, he's garbage. He's in the NBA.
Hey, he's playing pro ball.
That's a reason. And I think people get caught up because they look at other players and they compare them. Well, he's not as good as this player, but that don't mean he's garbage. He's not as good as this player. That don't mean he's bad. And every guy who makes it to the NBA has some type of talent. That's why he's making all this money being in the NBA.
And obviously, like I said, you being a Laker, me being a Laker fan, you look at the Celtics hoisting another trophy and you puts a little bad taste in your mouth. But I will say this, because you got guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who I like both of them a lot. They just happen to be wearing that ugly jersey. And it almost kind of makes it smooths it out a little bit more, because it's good to see those guys get a title under their belt. 27, 26 years old, in the middle of their primes, still having a long way to go and a lot of basketball left in them, nowhere near done. They're really just getting started, getting this title. Jaylen Brown got his big contract last offseason. Nobody's going to have a better offseason than Jason Tatum. Winning a title and going to get paid this offseason. He's going to get 5 years. I think the reporter was $315 million, the largest contract in NBA history.
Deserves it.
And deserves it. He just proved it.
Well, and that's just it. I think you had to get this title.
Yes.
To be able to go, see? There you go.
Well, at the same time, even if they didn't get this title,
they were going to pay
they got to
him.
give it to him anyway.
Well, yeah, I know, but it hammers home the argument.
And I think, and the scary part about Boston, usually with certain teams when they win titles, you go into the offseason thinking about, okay, this guy you got to worry about when his contract, this guy, what's going to happen with this guy. Your core in Boston is that when you traded for Drew Holiday, he signed on the dotted lines a 4-year extension, $135 million. I think you have Porzingis still under contract. You still have Derek White under contract, and obviously you got your two big dogs already under contract.
They just re-signed Derek White, so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So your core 5 guys, 6 guys are locked in for a minute. So I don't want to talk about Dynasty. We do this after every time a team wins a title.
No, they're not a Dynasty yet.
Nobody gonna mention Dynasty.
No, but they've been mentioning
they won't win it again next year. They won't win it again next year.
They've been mentioning, you know how they do all those talks every year after a team wins a title. I don't want to talk about that, but what I will say is they are obviously contenders for many years to come. If this team stays intact and they still are continuing to play at a high level and no one gets injured, they got
to stay healthy.
Kristaps?
Well, that's everybody.
That's Porzingis. We're saying healthy. We're putting emphasis on you because you've been hurt about 11 times in just this one series. So,
but I don't think they're gonna win it again next year. If you really look at this team is too little. Because Al Horford, it's amazing how, he was in his 18th season.
Mm-hmm. By the way, congratulations to Al Horford.
Yeah, congrats to Al.
As 2 guys here in Atlanta that have covered the Hawks for a very long time. Congrats to Al Horford for getting us.
Yeah, he was inching on that record, boy, catching Karl Malone for most games played playoffs without a title. But
now that record is held by James Harden.
Yeah, so I don't.
Oh wow.
I don't think he's gonna. The Celtics are gonna repeat because you're going to look at teams like Denver, who probably should have won it this year, going to retool. And you look at teams like Minnesota, who's going to get better. And, when you look at teams, how to get better, they add pieces. The problem is with this Boston Celtics, they're not a destination city. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just a lot of guys don't want to go play in Boston because of the history and whatnot. Even though I've been there, the people are great. But I don't think people are going to say, I want to go play in Boston because
I don't know, man. Not after the showing they put out this year. Best team in the NBA, run to the finals.
No, but nobody's going to want to go there, though, because there's no money. That's what I'm getting to. There is no money
that's
there.
A problem.
And the only person you're going to get to go play there is some guy who just I'm at the end of my career and, I might have a little left in my tank. I want to try to go win one. I'm going to go to Boston. But they're not going to get anybody because they are so far over the cap. You think about how much money they just gave Drew Holiday, how much money they gave Brown, how much
Now
they gave
they're gonna
White.
have to pay Jason. Yeah.
They're gonna have to play Jason, and Jason's gonna put them probably like $200 million over the cap.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
So it's gonna be hard for them.
Yeah, but this is what, when you're ownership and when you're the city of Boston and you're the fan base, so what? You know what? You know what it means? What happened last night? If I get to do that, well, okay, but you kick the
Isn't that
can
what
down
you
the road.
spend the money for, though?
Yeah, that's what you spend it for.
You spend the money so you could hold the Larry O up in the air and go, look what we got.
You know what it
We got
reminds
it
me
done.
of, though? It reminds me of the Golden State Warriors. That little run they had where they had two really good guards, and they had to pay them a shit ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had the power forward and Draymond, Porzingis. They had to pay them a shit ton of money. And they're going to have a nice little run, but I don't think they're as good as the Golden State Warriors teams where they can repeat. I just think I feel like this is a Toronto Raptors championship. Think about it.
Wow.
This is the Toronto Raptors championship.
You don't see them winning another title with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum 27 years and younger.
Nope, not at all.
Wow.
I am surprised by that.
And that's not me being a hater.
I think they're going to be in the mix. They're
going to be in the mix.
Whether you get it done, but that's a crapshoot in any sport.
Hey, being in the mix doesn't really count in the NBA. You could be in the mix all you want. Just ask Karl Malone, John Stockton, ask Charles Barkley, and all that. It don't mean shit.
But they got over the hump now. They're over the hump. So they've done
got
it.
over the hump. Yeah, they got over the hump. They did it, but don't be satisfied. And it's going to be hard for them to move on because they got no money.
Do you
Money
think
is
they
the
get
most
back?
important thing. Adding pieces. Did they get back to the finals?
Yeah.
I think so.
It can't say yet because you got to see what the Sixers do in the offseason.
Okay.
So what the Sixers do in the offseason going to really matter.
Let me ask you this. What move do you think the Sixers can make that would make you say that they are better than the Celtics?
Paul George.
I figured you was going to say that name.
Yeah. That's it. And to me, Paul George is the most important free agent this summer.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Nobody else out there, Porzingis, Jaylen, Tatum, whoever.
Well, Tatum's not going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
He's got to decide.
Wherever Paul George decides to go, and he can stay healthy. That is the biggest key, and that's the biggest if. He's going to be a game changer.
So you think Paul George, and that's not even just Paul George. We're talking about Embiid, his health.
He's got to be healthy.
We're talking about his health more. I'm more concerned about his health than I am Paul George's. So you talk Paul George, Maxey, Embiid. I would assume Tobias Harris would not be there.
He's going to be gone.
Yeah. So you think that three, the core of that three, can,
if they're healthy.
If they're healthy, do you think that three can contend or beat the Celtics?
Yes, because you look at Maxey. Maxey can guard Drew Holiday. Whoever they get can probably guard Tatum. And then think about it. People forget Paul George is an elite defender.
Oh no, he's a two-way player.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I think that if you look at the Sixers team, Tobias Harris was supposed to be that guy.
Sorry,
it didn't develop. Tobias Harris sometimes he's chasing daisies, chasing butterflies in the daisy field. Sometimes when you watch it, you don't know if he's gonna be into it or out of it. So I think Paul George is a guy who he's hungry, hasn't won a championship, and he can guard Tatum or Jaylen or whoever it need be, and he's who can guard him. They was looked up because you think about Jaylen Brown, who's a great defender, lock Kyrie up because of his size and strength and speed. And people say, "Oh, Kyrie's not the player." Yeah, as you get older, you lose that speed, which we can clearly see. Kyrie doesn't have that blow by speed anymore, but he has it against other players. But we talking about elites now, and Jaylen Brown, he didn't have it against Jaylen. So it's going to be a very important offseason for guys like the Bucks and the Sixers. Whatever they do is going to be important.
I think we talked about Boston needing some size. Needing a bigger body down low because, Al Horford, not that we'd ever consider him a bigger body, hang it up. It's time for him to hang it up.
I think he probably would, right?
And with Porzingis.
Oh, he got that money coming. He ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
What has he got left, though?
But even with that being said, he's still not the bigger body that, you know what I'm saying? Because he lives out on the perimeter a lot of the time. And then you have Porzingis, as tall as he is, he can't stay healthy. My thing is this team needs a Miles Plumlee type of guy or a Clint Capella type of guy. a guy that does not necessarily need the ball, but can roll to the basket, and you can throw them lobs. They can play good defense. They can protect the rim. That's the type of guy that they need.
Hey, what if Boston
Horford's got a year
Celtics
left, by the way.
What if Boston Celtics had Lively, though? Think about a young Lively on the Boston Celtics. Ooh.
If they had, I would say if they had Jackson Hayes.
Yeah.
You know, I think a young guy like Jackson Hayes, where you, do what you got to do. Just
Jackson Hayes doesn't block shots enough for me. You know what I mean?
True. Okay.
Yeah, I like his energy, but he doesn't block shots like I think he should have been that height and that athletic ability.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've talked a lot about the East. What do out of the West? What do you think the Mavericks need to do to put together this kind of a run again? Is this just struck by lightning, got hot at the right time, or do you legitimately think the Mavericks can be back here?
You know,
It's tough, boy.
It's tough, man.
In the West,
Yes.
It's tough, and I think there was one shining moment.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because when you are focused on in the playoffs, you get exposed, and now the Dallas Mavericks got exposed that they can lose their composure, and Luka can't play no defense. You just go at him, and I think the thing that the people don't understand also, the Celtics coaching was so much smarter than Minnesota's coaching. Because you go back to those pick and rolls where they try to, switch, get Luka in a mismatch. Mm-hmm. The Celtics fought over that screen. They stayed with the defender, which nobody does anymore. Everybody wants to switch and give up because it's the easy way out. Yeah. The Celtics defenders, they say, "Oh no, you're my guy. I'm keeping you. Okay, rotate and roll back to the," because that screen is so damn high that you have time to get back to the big if you hustle.
Right.
And they've showed that, and so they're gonna have to come up with a better way to having Luka get open or, man, post Luka ass up. He's really good in the post, but he's slow defensively and he's slow offensively when you got guys who can defend.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the gauntlet in the West is crazy. And, you got teams getting healthy. You got teams retooling, guys on the move here and there. I just look at a team like Minnesota and Ant-Man who is so hungry. At 22 years old, we talk about young guys, but you're talking about a guy who's entering his prime, and he's not even entering his prime.
No,
but from an attitude
young.
standpoint and an athlete and from where his skill set is right now, boy, he's hungry. And so you got teams like that are ready to really take that next leap and understood, how bad of a taste, Dallas left in their mouth. You just don't know it. The movement of this summer is going to tell us a lot, and it's gonna tilt a lot of scales. So I just don't think Dallas. Not that Dallas won't be good. I just think you got to have a lot of other teams getting healthy and getting back to where they rightfully are supposed to be.
Okay. Yeah, I mean I agree. I think it's gonna be a very long road back for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
I think you got too much stacked up against you in the West, because Denver's going to be in the mix, no doubt. Mm-hmm. Like you just talked about Minnesota. I think Minnesota, unless something insane happens, Minnesota's going to be, hopefully Ant-Man leads them to be a perennial contender for the next several years to come. So, I think you just got a lot of big fat roadblocks in the West, man.
Yeah, and you think about this, the Timberwolves were the number one defensive team in the league last year. Mm-hmm. Celtics was third. So it's gonna be very telling if, when you look at Minnesota, and we always want to point the finger at the Stifle Tower. I don't point my finger at him. He is who he is. My thing is Cat. Cat got to dominate. Cat got to do more than just want to shoot threes because he's too damn talented not to post up, not to shoot threes and stay out of foul trouble, because he is going to be the deciding factor if that team goes far.
Yeah, it's true.
We talked about Jaylen Brown wins MVP. I think that was sort of deserved. Congratulations to Doris Burke for being the first female to call a major championship game. Good for her. I love Doris. She was great.
I love Doris.
She was hilarious last night when Porzingis got pulled down on a block, and she goes, "If that's Caitlin Clark, that's like 2 months of conversation." Good for you, Doris. That's pretty good. So Doris Burke did good. Proud of Doris Burke. Love her. And I've got a couple other things. Bob Cousy said Kyrie was the one who got really exposed in this series. Celtics legend Bob Cousy. I didn't really see that. I just didn't think Kyrie was much of a factor.
I think when you throw a big body at him like they did with Jaylen Brown,
all of a sudden,
and got physical, I think that's what you got to do with Kyrie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people, sometimes I think we look at what a guy didn't do compared to what a guy stopped him from doing.
Yeah.
And it's not like Kyrie doesn't have it. You got to give the credit to Jaylen Brown. He stopped him from doing what he wanted to do. So that's taken away from Jaylen Brown's defensive prowess when like, hold on. No, it wasn't what Kyrie was. No, it was just, let's give credit to Jaylen Brown for shutting his ass down. Because think about it. He killed everybody else in every other series. So he didn't lose it all of a sudden in one series. It's because someone shut him down.
Yeah. They learned, they figured out a way to play him. Close him. And then we had this, I'm not going to play the audio, but Joel Embiid was on one of the ESPN broadcasts. He was sitting with Paul George, and he said, we talked about it a little bit. I think they said, is this the start of the next dynasty? And he's like, no. It's like, we're going to get healthy. Milwaukee's going to get healthy. And no. So, yeah, Boston had, from Joel Embiid's perspective, and we talked about it already, had a little bit of an easy road through the East this year. So we'll see.
I laugh because, you think about this. There's only been one team that he was like, oh, it's the start of to have to win the championship. That was Toronto. Toronto, like, oh, they're going to be in flux next season. Kawhi leaving. Like, every time a team wins the championship, oh, is this the next start of the next dynasty?
Of course, yeah.
More Toronto, like, no, they're going to explode.
And we're forgetting, that's another team we're forgetting about Milwaukee. And I understand it feels like Milwaukee has kind of been this team that we forgot about, and it seems like it's been so long ago since they won the title. Obviously, Giannis wasn't healthy. Coaching carousel. We don't know what Coach Rivers, Doc Rivers is going, whether he'll keep his job throughout the remainder of the season or not. Milwaukee is there. If they get it together and they get clicking, Giannis has been there, done that. Mm-hmm. Got a T-shirt for it, multiple. So, hey, Giannis got something to prove. He has a lot he's going to want to prove next season. I promise you.
You know what's funny, though? Like you talked about Embiid being healthy. Let's talk about Giannis being healthy. This mofo ain't been healthy in the playoffs in a while now. Think about it. Oh, I hurt my butt. I'm out. Oh, I hurt my calf. I'm out. So it's gonna be very important for him to stay in good condition and injury free.
Yeah, but at least with Giannis, I'm not as worried about Giannis as I am about Embiid. One, because of Embiid's size. And we know what happens. We know how when big men start have knee problems and back problems, and he's a big man, like he's a true big man. He had the issue coming out of college. He missed all them games coming into the league with issues.
The first year. I mean,
he missed his first 2 years.
Was it 2 years?
I think he missed his first 2 to 3 years of his career getting healthy.
So him, just like a guy like, was it Ben Simmons, Michael Porter Jr., guys who may have missed time when they were drafted at the beginning of their careers, and now saying I was taking Michael Porter out, but those other guys still dealing with lingering issues season after season. It don't get better as the season goes on. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else on the finals you want to cover before we move on? I think that was kind of it, man. Again, congrats to Boston for getting it done.
Yeah,
this is one of those finals. It just was like you wanted to see. I really wanted to see Boston versus Denver. Two good defensive teams.
I wanted to see Boston, Minnesota. I thought that would have been a hell of a good series.
Yeah, that would have been a heck of a series.
But you know what? I mean, congrats to Dallas for doing what they did. Yeah. It's just you wonder how many times you're going to catch lightning in a bottle.
That's a lot. That would have been a lot of size for Boston to deal with.
Yeah, it really
on
would.
The other end of that floor. I mean, you're talking about 3 7-footers that Minnesota has. That's a lot of size, boy.
Yeah.
That'd have been fun.
And I think Minnesota probably going to win the West again next year if they stay healthy, and they're going to understand what they did wrong. And they did a lot of things wrong. Yeah. If you sit back and basketball and you watch them, you can't switch on screens with Gobert. Number one. Sure, Number two is you can't just settle for threes all the time. That's what the Celtics did, and they won it, but they were a better 3-point shooting team. Ant-Man, you got to go to the hole and get some fouls. Yeah. And I think you can't go to the hole every time and yell, "Hey!" Because there's not been a ref in the league that calls a foul when a guy goes, "Hey!" Because you do it so much, it's like crying wolf.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see who's back. We'll see who doesn't. Speaking of guys who've been banged up, Klay Thompson. Per Shams, it's starting to look like we're going to get Klay testing free agency, which I think we all kind of talked about and thought about for a while. But it looks like it's going to happen. The quote was, if he does leave the Warriors, that call with Steph, Draymond, and Steve Kerr might be the most difficult call he has to make. There's reports that he's unfollowed the Warriors on Instagram. He's scrubbed a bunch of Warriors content off his social media. I don't know what the hell that means anymore because it seems like people do that every other day and nothing happens. If he does leave Golden State, where's a good fit for Klay Thompson?
Anywhere he goes.
Yeah, but who? Like we just talked about all the teams that need pieces to get this done. Where do you think? I mean, East or West?
One team obviously that's been floating around. Obviously, they talk about. I think he goes East. Obviously, they were talking about Orlando.
Yeah,
because Orlando needs. They talk about Orlando needing shooting. I
don't think he wants to rebuild though.
True.
He's too old to rebuild. So
are they in a rebuild though?
They're not there yet.
I should say rebuild. They're young and they're building with this young core.
I mean, they were the 5 seed this year.
Yeah,
they were in the mix.
Yeah, he's gonna go somewhere with 3 or higher. Watch.
I'm gonna throw another team out, and I don't know if they have the money to make it happen. But I think if you put him here, and it's a team that's ready to win now, Milwaukee.
I think the same thing.
Milwaukee.
Really?
I think they need another guy, another veteran on that team that has been there, done that with a level of experience, championship experience, and can spread the floor because it gives Giannis space. Giannis needs spacing. And you have
Do you think Milwaukee will spend the money?
I don't know. I don't know how much Klay is going to want. Obviously, he wants more than whatever the Warriors are offering him, and which is why they're parting ways. They can't come to terms on that number. So I think if you're somebody like Milwaukee, it depends on how healthy Klay is, how he looks, how he feels. But if he can get back to some of his good shooting ways, I think he can fit well with the likes of Dame and Giannis because they need another shooter there. I really do. I know they got Malik Beasley, so he was one of the top shooters in the league last year. But I think they could add another shooter to that tandem.
Okay. What about Philly? If they don't make a move for Paul George.
That's a step down if they can't get Paul George.
Well,
I don't say it like that.
No,
dog.
I mean that disrespectful.
I get what you're saying. If you get Paul George or Klay, you're going to take Paul George. I get you. I'm just saying.
It's not a disrespect to Klay. I just think.
If Ballmer, if they figure this out in L.A., which I'm still blistered by the fact that they have not figured this out with Paul George in L.A. yet. But apparently they're not anywhere near what Paul George wants. But if L.A. manages to come around and Ballmer goes, all right, fine, just give him what he wants to stay. Is Klay in Philly a move?
Could be. I think that's your second.
I think no.
You don't think so?
Because I even though I know I'm saying no Klay, but I'm just saying you figure he would want to be in the opportunity to win the champion. I don't think that's a good fit for him.
Okay.
Because Embiid holds the ball a lot, Tyrese Maxey holds the ball a lot, and I think since Klay doesn't have the ability, Klay is not a put the ball on the floor type guy. And then you look at the coaching that they did. Think about what's the guy played at Indiana, won College Player of the Year, not in Oklahoma. The guy that hit all the threes and he didn't play.
Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield is Klay Thompson, and so I don't think they will bring in Klay Thompson to that team because you got Buddy Hield, and I don't think the coaching there was too good because you look at players look at stuff like that, and you think, okay, if he played Buddy Hield like that, what would he do to me? So. I don't think that's the reason I don't think he'd go to Philly.
Lakers?
His dad is announced for the Lakers.
He would be staying home. Well, kind of.
If you want to stay out west.
I just think that with the Lakers, whatever that number is that Klay is wanting, the Lakers have to come to the terms of they want to pay that number to this version of Klay Thompson.
They're not going to give him the money.
They don't
have the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not especially not for this version of Klay Thompson.
Okay, so then you have the decision if you're Klay Thompson, though, right? Are you going to hold out for the team that pays you the most, but be willing to go to Chicago, or do you want to take a little bit less and try and play for a team that may legitimately be in the mix?
I think he'll do that because at the end of the day, Klay's made a shit ton of money. He has off the court things that are doing very well for him.
But if this is your last, and I don't know if it is his last because he's not, but if this is your last deal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't you want that deal to be the one that counts the biggest at the end of your career? Don't you want
he's not gonna get the max because he's
No,
he's
I don't
not
think he'll
Klay
get the
Thompson.
max, but if you can get more to play for the Magic.
I think because he said, okay, the Magic might have a chance to go deep in the playoffs. You know, and some guys, I don't know Klay like that.
Uh-oh.
He's gone.
That he might say, oh, I might be the piece of that. So, am I back?
Yeah,
You're back now.
now.
Yeah, you hung for a minute,
Yeah.
but you're back.
Yeah. So, but I don't think that's, Orlando be like, I think at the end of the day, you got guys like Klay who've won championship. It's like the most addictive thing ever. You want that. It's an addiction. So he's gonna sit back and say, where do I have the best chance to win another championship?
Okay.
Where do I have the best chance to, kind of hide and just shoot threes and play this game the right way? So who knows? He might think about it. If the Spurs get, Garland and then you add Klay Thompson, shit, they're a contender.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I didn't even think about San Antonio.
Yeah. Think about it. He's a contender.
San Antonio's got money to spend.
I do think the days of Klay Thompson being one of those pieces that kind of shift things are over. I think he can go to a contender that may need another piece or need another guy that can spread the floor. But as far as him, being that dynamic two-way player that we've known him to be throughout his career, because I think some of those injuries have caught up to him. I don't think he has the lift in his legs that he used to have, but I do still think he can shoot the ball at a high clip. I just don't think he's the guy that can shift things the way we think he could have if he would have left, I guess. Years before.
Pre-injury,
yeah.
For me, I feel like, I think he has 2 to 3 good years left in him. And, you as a player, when you're not the focal point of this team and you're not happy with the team, that plays a major role on how you play.
Yeah.
And I think going into this season, he got put on the bench. He came off the bench. I just think he wasn't mentally there. A fresh start somewhere else would bring that mental game back. And for me, I remember when I was my last year as a Laker, going 3 for 38 in the playoffs. I was fatigued, I was tired, and there was so many things going on in my life off the court that nobody knew about that wore me down. Go to San Antonio, figure it out the next year, and then have a great season in 2005, win a championship. So I'm looking at this being Klay Thompson. And people always think, oh, you look at one season. Now, I understand that he was like 38 years old. I know he has a lot of injury, but I think sometimes you need a reset. He needs to hit the reset button, go somewhere, and I think you'll see a different Klay if he's in the right situation.
And I think, too, you can speak to this. Obviously, I'm talking out of my ass. But as you get older in your career and your body doesn't agree with you, it's about adaptability a lot, isn't it? Like, it's about, okay, look, this isn't who I am anymore, so I'm going to have to adapt to a new role. Like B said, even if he's an off-the-bench shooter, like you're coming in and that's your move. You're going to shoot the ball. We're going to get you open. We're going to penetrate, kick, and you're going to get some shots. Then if that's your role, you got to kind of come to terms with that at some point.
Yeah. And I think most coaches are now open to say, hey, this is our game plan for you. If you come here, this is our plan for you. Because we already have a stacked lineup. Now, see if you went to somewhere like Philly, you're like, okay, I just threw Philly out there because I'm top of my head. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna play you in the Buddy Hield role. You're gonna come off the bench. If you're not shooting it, we bring you out, and you got to understand that.
We did some other news this week. It kind of threw me. A little upset by this news. Go ahead and take it away, Charles Barkley.
There's been a lot of noise around our network the last few months. And I just want to say, I've talked to all the other networks, but I ain't going nowhere other than TNT. But I have made the decision myself, no matter what happens, next year is going to be my last year on television.
That just upsets me. But I feel like the writing's on the wall for inside the NBA. We've talked about it. And he wants to go out on his own terms, as opposed to being I'm going to go to NBC, or I'm going to go over here and do this, maybe some freelance. And look, Charles has had an unbelievable career on television. Maybe better than his playing career. And that's saying a lot because he was an exceptional player.
Exceptional.
But his TV run has been epic. And I think for him, it's like, look, my show's ending. A show that I helped build and put on the map. I'll go out on my own terms. Just going to call it a career. But, congratulations to Charles Barkley if that is true.
Yeah.
And it's so weird, you watch him the last couple of seasons. He's been talking a lot more. I guess he's trying to get it in before it ends.
Well, I didn't even notice a lot more because he talks a lot anyway. I mean,
he's been talking a lot more. So, and the thing about Charles, love Charles to death. He's going to be one of those guys you miss, but it's almost like he knows Draymond is coming up. He's like,
he said as much today. He said, he's like, I'm going to hand the baton to the next guy, whoever that is. If it's Jamal Crawford, if it's Draymond Green, whoever it is. But, I mean, Draymond has spent a lot of time at that desk on TNT. A lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised at this. I just think there's just been a lot of, once they realized that Warner was not getting, the NBA was moving on from Warner and they're going to other networks. I think it's a $7.5 billion deal that's going to be dispersed between many different
three
platforms.
different networks, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think then you got to take into consideration Ernie said he's not going anywhere. You don't know what the big fella's going to do. We don't know what Kenny is going to do. They're going to be split up anyway. Yeah. And so it's tough from so many different angles. And to see the fact that, after his 25th year, after next season, that he's going to hang it up. That's tough because we're not going to ever get another Charles Barkley. I know people are different. And Draymond can come in and, it'll still be fresh and new until Draymond puts his Draymond spin on it, and then we're going to have years of Draymond doing his thing. But to see the impact that Barkley has made, I have in my phone probably 20 to 25 saved clips from all over throughout the years of inside the NBA of the most hilarious segments. And there are times where if I'm bored, I'll just go and watch them again because there are some that I just forget. And they're funny each and every single. There's not a moment in time where they're not funny. I don't care how many times I've seen them.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to get that level of TV and that level of camaraderie ever again. It's no disrespect to anybody that comes behind them.
Oh, sure.
You're just never going to see this type of television ever again. And I wholeheartedly believe that.
Well, I mean, and you know this. We've all known. We've played on teams. We've worked on shows where you just know, man, this works. Like, holy crap, this is good, and this works. And Charles and Shaquille work, just the two of them, because they're friends, because they've known each other for so long, and they bust each other's balls tirelessly. And it's what makes the show so damn good. That's no disrespect to Kenny or Ernie, but Chuck and Shaq make that show what it is. And Shaq without Chuck, it's just no matter where the big fella goes or what he does.
Now,
without Charles opposite him, it's just not gonna be the same.
Now let's let's pay our respects to the Godfather, because he's the captain of that ship.
Ernie?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ernie is the one. There are times where them two on the end, that thing can start,
and he's got a hand on the wheel, just trying to.
But the consummate professional.
Oh, he's the best.
There's nobody. We always say that if there's somebody on this planet that hates Ernie Johnson, they're the problem.
Yeah. They are.
That is the.
No one hates Ernie Johnson. You cannot not like Ernie Johnson.
I'll tell you what. There are few people in sports media. Actually, there's few people in media, period.
Yeah.
That I could even say I respect more than Ernie Johnson. I got the utmost admiration and respect for that man.
Yep.
As a person, as a professional. He's an incredible person. I have a lot of respect for Ernie Johnson.
Absolutely.
So
same here.
Yeah, just the end of an era. That's all.
We got one more season though. It's a long season.
Oh, it's gonna be a wild.
It's gonna be
amazing
last season.
Inside the NBA next year. Oh my God.
It's gonna be so good because you know how many celebrities love Ernie. Their guest spots. They're gonna have to put a fifth chair. They got to put a fifth chair. They're like, who's coming this week? So it's
going to be
great.
out of control. And
And
all of them are going to be like, "What are you going to do? Fire me? what are you going to do? Cut me loose? Oh wait, that day's coming." So it's going to be out of control next season.
So let me ask you guys this question: how many, changing this topic?
No, you're good.
Because of the new rule in the NBA, how many guys are going to sign today? This week, I should say, because now teams can negotiate.
Right. Think about that, and then the draft's like next week or something, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's gonna be really interesting to see.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Who knows? Klay might sign tonight. back with the Golden State
Back with
Warriors.
Golden State, I would be surprised.
I want to see what that number looks like.
Yeah, because it ain't going to be what anybody wants.
Yeah.
Either Golden State's going to cave or he's going to cave.
I say in the next, I don't know about big names, but I say within the next couple of days or so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the key ones is going to be Klay, of course Tatum, Paul George for sure.
You think
LeBron.
Paul George in the next few days?
Well, I'm just saying, if you think about it, if you're the Clippers and Paul George is a big piece to your organization,
You want it
sign
done
him
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for anybody can dangle that carrot out there and bring him away. So I think that is going to be the biggest key right there if Paul George, signs this week.
Okay. Yeah, I completely forgot that was the new rule. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it shakes out. I do have we'll do audio of the week, NBA history, a quick big shot and a quick game because we're having a fun long show this week. Audio of the week. I got to get 1 minute and 10 seconds of your time to play Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yeah.
Calling a baseball game.
Yeah.
Snoop was in the booth for the Brewers and the Reds, and I didn't know Snoop was a big Milwaukee Brewers fan. I had no idea, but Snoop in the booth calling the Brewers game, and the context of these plays you won't follow because it's different clips of different plays, but you gotta love Snoop's enthusiasm.
Here's a bouncing ball to second. Look at Terang picking.
Easy to 1-2-1-2. That'll do what it do.
What I told you, get it in there. Oh, he in there. That's it, shit. That's yes, I told you, baby. We call it an easy walk in the park. That's a base hit. Give him a single. He does like to mingle. And my favorite jingle is the S to the N, double O, no. Oh, he's taking off. He gone. Let him get there. Where'd he go, Perk? Earn mine. You got to earn mine, Perk. You got to earn mine. You getting mine back. You getting my respect. There you go, Perk.
Making up for that play.
I like Bryce. Oh, good hit. That's a good hit. He can't get there. Oh! Foul ball. They chilling right now. They laid back. You know when you hang out with the dog, you got to be laid back. You know what I'm saying? So they laid back with their mind on their money right now. How often do people slide down that slide over there? Right? He can't get there. He better not outrun you. You better not let the pitcher outrun you, dog. Come on now. Oh, he gone. He took that. Get up in there. He took that. Give him that. Where'd it go? Eat.
I'll tell you what, I haven't heard a Major League Baseball announcer with more enthusiasm for a foul ball than freaking Snoop Dogg. Just holy shit, that was great.
He is, I heard this the other day, and I'm like, every booth in Major League Baseball, he needs to visit.
Oh, for sure.
MLB needs to come up with something, cut him a check, do something, compensate him in some type of way.
Some broadcasts, man.
He needs to find a way to at least go to, if not all, most cities, and get in the booth with their play-by-play guys and their color guys, and just let him go.
Just call an inning.
Somebody said this, and this is so true. This is the type of stuff that brings in more listeners and brings in more viewers and makes the game feel different. Baseball has always been last to the party when it comes to change, when it comes to making adjustments, because it's always been, this is the baseball way. Yeah. Hearing Snoop Dogg on during a baseball broadcast
totally different
ain't
energy.
Baseball way. It's the furthest thing from it. And it was absolutely amazing. And we need more of it.
Yeah, because baseball has been the same old boring thing for years, and and they need to bring a little life to it. I think it's so hard to bring life to it because it's so damn long.
Well, you know what? To baseball's credit, the last few years they've done a lot to speed up the game, and I thought I was going to hate the pitch clock. Doesn't bother me one bit. Like it moves the game along. It stops those long ass at bats. So I'm, they've done more of that, but having Snoop in the booth, and I was telling B, I would love to hear Snoop on some NBA broadcasts too, because we know what a big NBA fan he is.
Yeah.
Get him on some Lakers broadcasts with y'all. Oh my goodness.
That's the guest we talking about for TNT. He could go out with him.
Oh my God, Snoop at the table. Oh, forget it, dude. Forget it. All right, let's do This Week in NBA History. We'll do Big Shot, and we'll do our game real fast. This week in NBA history, it was 30 years ago yesterday that Robert Horry was playing in the NBA Finals with the Houston Rockets, slugging it out literally with the Knicks when they cut away for the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase. That was 30 years ago yesterday, 1994. And
that's weird,
I
man.
say slugging it out because I watched a lot of old highlights from the 94 finals when they were doing the OJ stuff, just how they were cut. The network was like cutting in and out of your game and stuff. And at one point, they like cut to Brokaw, Tom Brokaw's doing the OJ, slips it on the 5. And they cut back to the game. And here comes like John Starks on a breakaway. And here comes Robert Horry mowing him down, sending him into the post. And Anthony Mason is in there. And I forgot how like chippy that series got. I completely forgot about how like you guys were literally, you specifically were in the middle of half that shit.
You know, for me, I remember when I went in for a dunk and they took me out the air and I ended up spraining both of my wrists. I got a hairline fracture, my coccyx, and then that was why I went back down like, oh, someone's going to take the punishment for this.
John Starks is going to pay the price.
Yeah, and so it was weird. That series, when I ended up with that series, I literally, you know, that summer, I had to do rehab on both wrists. I had like 10 stitches in my arm. I had to go to rehab for the hairline fracture, which still bothers me to this day, in my ass. So it was it was a rough series. You got to think about, for me, I was only like 225 then, going up against Anthony Mason, you know, Charles Oakley, Charles Smith, Patrick Ewing. That front line right there, that's what, 1,000 pounds right there?
At least.
So it was. You know, at least we had Dream and Otis and Carl Herrera.
Yeah,
was our so-called muscle, but it was a tough series, man.
Dude, it was funny too because there's a couple times where you got scrappy, and it was the first jersey in there, Maxwell, Mad Max in there. Within 2 seconds, here comes Maxwell, and like every time it got chippy, I was like, there's times he's pulling you off people, and there's times you're pulling him off people, and I'm like, the two of y'all were just like trying to not get each other ejected, like just don't get thrown out, man, just don't get thrown out. But it really wild, though, to look back on that 30 freaking years ago, which is crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't even see game. Was it game 3?
I think it was game 3. 4? I think it was game 3.
Yeah.
I think it was game 3.
A lot of people didn't see it. And,
I missed almost all of that game, which is why when I went back and watched a lot of it, I was like, holy shit, I forgot how chippy this was.
Yeah, that was 2-3-2. Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, well, by the way, this week's game is going to have to do with our 30 years ago in NBA history. So we'll play a little Back to the Future Prices Right later. Oh, we also had this happen 14 years ago yesterday. Lakers beat the Celtics in the NBA Finals. Ron Artest had that clutch late 3 on a pass from Kobe Bryant, which he could not believe that the ball was thrown to him, which is outstanding. And we got this great moment in the postgame.
And he trusted us, and he made us feel so good. And he passed me the ball. He never passed me the ball. And he passed me the ball. Kobe passed me the ball. And I shot a 3. And Phil didn't want me to shoot the 3. I heard him. Because he's the Zen master, so he can speak to you without, you know? He can speak to you, and he don't need a microphone. You can hear him in your head. Ron, don't shoot. I said, whatever. Bang, 3. Woo! Yes. No, but I love the Zen, though.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. Love Ron Artest, man.
Get out of here, Ron, before you say something more crazy.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Let's move on before Phil gets too pissed at you. I do love that, though. Just a classic NBA history moment. All right, let's do Big Shot of the Week, and then we'll do our 30 years ago game. Big Shot of the Week is going to go to Dr. Tom Catena. And here's why. I found this out this week, and I didn't know this. Dr. Catena he grew up in New York, went to Brown University, played football, he studied engineering, but he realized early in his life he wanted to help people. So he became a doctor. And then after he finished his residency, he started doing mission work in Africa. And for the last 25 years, this man has been single-handedly taking care of people in Kenya and Sudan. The last 16 years in Sudan at the Mother of Mercy Hospital. He is the only hospital in the area with a population of 1 million people. He sees 100 patients a day. And he's always on call because without him, there is literally not another doctor for about 1 million people in Sudan.
Damn.
Wow.
So this man is literally taking care of 1 million people in Sudan on his own. So 25 years in Africa, in Kenya, and Sudan. So big shot of the week to Dr. Catena, because that's amazing.
Think about that. You said 1 million people.
1 million people.
And doing it for 25 years. That's outstanding, man.
Dude.
Think about you got to have a love for the human being to do that job, man.
You're giving your life over to that cause. That's just unbelievable work. I mean, so big shot of the freaking year to that guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Century.
Let's see how well we do in this. Oh, it's The Price is Right. Well, we talked about it was 30 years ago. The O.J. Chase and the NBA Finals and Robert Horry getting crushed by Anthony Mason. So I went back and I looked at the difference in prices on a bunch of stuff. So we're going to go basic Price is Right rules here. You're each going to get a guess. It's going to be closest without going over. Okay? So we'll see how we do. For instance, today, a Big Mac meal at McDonald's cost an average of $10.29 for a Big Mac meal. In 1994, how much did a Big Mac meal cost? So, Rob, you can go first.
$7.89.
$7.89. Harper?
It's 94.
Yeah.
What I gotta say, higher or lower?
Yeah. No, actually, you get to throw in a price, too. It's going to be closest.
I'm going to say $6.50.
Oh, you're both way over, by the way. Where's my buzzer? I lost my buzzer. There it is. $4.59.
Jeez.
Seriously?
$4.59 in
94?
1994. You get a Big Mac meal. $10 today.
God damn.
I know. Dude, this game's going to mess you up. I'm telling you.
And the burgers got worse and smaller. Like, shit.
How'd that work? All right. Question 2. Harp, you get to go first on this one. Today, the average cost of a beer out and about in the world, if you want to stop at a bar and get a beer, is $7.65. In 1994, what was the average cost of a beer?
$2.50.
All right, Harp says $2.50.
I'm going to go with $1.50.
Yeah, you both went a little low, but Harp's going to get the point on this one. $3.65. $3.65 to get a beer in 1994.
Both those and the $7.65 were too low because at a baseball stadium.
Oh no, I wouldn't count baseball stadium. $20 for a beer.
You do realize in 1994 I'm talking the cost in Houston, in Alabama, man.
That's okay. That's where we're at. Well, it's all right. We did a national average, okay? Because if I would have done LA prices, this game would have been off the charts. All right, today a gallon of milk. Rob, you get to go first. Today a gallon of milk costs on average $3.77.
Oh, that's $1.59.
And he's going $1.59. All right, Harp.
I'm going $1.40.
$1.40, and you're both over. $1.12. $1.12 for a gallon of milk in 1994. Man, life was good in 1994. We didn't even realize it. We didn't even know, man. We didn't even know. All right, today a gallon of gas costs on average. Now, again, this is not Los Angeles prices. National average is about $3.90 a gallon. How much was a gallon of gas, national average, in 1994?
$1.25.
All right, Rob?
I'm going to say $1.69.
$1.11. $1.11, if you can believe that. $1.11.
What the hell that was that?
I don't know. The national average was $1.11, which is dumb. Adjusted for inflation, it's still under $2. All right, today, a regular crunchy taco at Taco Bell, national average is $1.69. How much did a regular crunchy taco cost back in 1994? And we lived on this shit.
39 cents.
39 cents.
50 cents.
Oh, Harp right there. 49 cents. 49 cents for a freaking regular crunchy taco at Taco Bell.
I remember it was either 39 or 49.
We would get boxes of them. Just freaking boxes of them. All right, 2 more real quick. Today, the average price of a regular season NBA ticket is $51. That's the league average for a regular season game.
That ain't a Laker game.
No. League average. So you're factoring in who's paying for Kings tickets. But what was the average cost of an NBA regular season ticket in 1994?
$15.
$15.
I'm going to say 20.
Oh, point for Robert Ory. $27 was your league average in 1994. In the building for less than $30.
But that's nosebleeds.
Oh, it is. No, you're sitting not in comfortable seats.
Right.
All right. By the way, if you wanted to get in the building for Game 5 in Boston last night, $2,500 for the worst seats in the stadium.
Wow.
You could sit on the roof for $2,500. So I can't imagine what the lower bowl was costing. All right, last one. Today, the highest salary in the NBA is $51.9 million, held by Stephen Curry, highest paid player in the league this season. Back in 1994, this is a two-part question. What was the highest salary in the NBA in 1994, and who had it?
Oh, this might be a Rob. This is a Rob.
Oh, I know this one.
You know it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I know it.
Okay.
Because this is when David Robinson he was about to win MVP, and I think it was David Robinson.
Okay.
I don't know how much
on the salary.
Let me see. Shit, I'm gonna
94.
I'm gonna go by what? Because we talk. I'm gonna say like $7 million, maybe.
Okay. Harp.
What do you say? $7 million?
Yeah.
Man, that ain't no money.
I'll tell you, he got. I'll tell you what. You got the player right. It was David Robinson who had the highest salary in the league.
Because he had it in his contract where he had to be one of the top 3 highest paid players in the league.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna at least go into double digits. I'm gonna say 10.
Okay. David Robinson in 1994 was the highest paid player in the NBA with $5.74 million. Can you believe that? $5 million, well, almost $6. But $6 million was the league's highest salary.
These days, bench players make more than that.
You get $6 million to go get wings and get thrown out of a game like Lou Will. I mean, come on. It's like, so anyway, that's a look back in time at the way things cost. I couldn't believe that, though. That Robinson had only made $6 million in 1990.
That's crazy.
Do you realize that one season that Michael Finley was the highest paid player in the NBA?
Michael Finley was.
Michael Finley.
Okay, yeah.
Because he got a huge contract from the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
And that's the year when they did that thing where you can get rid of someone. I forget what it was called. And then he got a contract from the Spurs too, so he was getting 2 checks.
Got double contracts.
You're not talking about amnesty.
Yeah, it was. I forget what it was called. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And he got double paid basically.
All this tells me is that, do you know how vastly underpaid Michael Jordan was?
Oh, it's absurd.
Oh my God.
You forget he only got 2 contracts of $30 million.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But just even then, because in '94, I mean, he had already won 3 titles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he out of the league, went to go play baseball, but I mean, it was still his league.
Yeah.
And so for David Robinson at that time to be the highest paid at
in 1994, that's after Jordan won 3 titles.
3 titles.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's all about, man, this whole league is all about.
It's so different.
Timing.
Yeah, it's about timing.
Yeah.
God,
you got to think about this. People don't. When Magic Johnson came back into the league for that 1 year, he was the highest paid player in the league, and he was making like $14 million in 1 year.
And that was in the mid-'90s. That was what,
94, 95, because I remember playing against them in the playoffs in those ugly-ass Rocket uniforms. I remember that.
Ugly-ass Rocket uniforms.
You remember those with the cartoon character? The Rocket had the teeth.
I remember them.
Yeah, those blue pinstripes.
Terrible.
So, yeah.